Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel Hard Mod Systems. I'm George. Today we're moving forward with the Case Master Stacker reassembly. The parts have all been modified or changed to get it ready for completion. This first part of the video is actually kind of funny because everything I'm doing has to be redone. So here's the first problem that we ran into. The audio cables for the front I/O shield, which I installed in the very top of the case, was too short. And no matter what I tried, it would not reach the port on the motherboard. So right now I'm wishing Amazon had a magical device called a cable stretcher. Needless to say, there wasn't anything I could find when I searched for it, so yes, I was gonna have to take it all apart again and move the I/O from the top slot down to the third slot. In reality, it wasn't a big problem, just a little bit of extra time again to move the DVD writer to the top and move the I/O down to the bottom or the third slot. This also gave me an opportunity to reinvestigate the multi-card reader that I had purchased. So yeah, before I went any further, I made sure that the audio cable was going to reach now, and thankfully it did. There's a really good look at the Intel Arc A770 Acer Predator video card. Yeah, a little bit of butterfingers on that one there, trying to get it in and lined up. Took a few tries. The case is fairly heavy, and tipping it back like that was a little precarious. I had my feet jammed under the wheels of the cart to make sure it didn't roll away on me. There we go, success. Yay! So yeah, I actually found the plug for the fan controller. I had to use a fan splitter so that it could put all three of the front fans on the slider control port, or plug if you want to call it like that. Just a quick view of the front now that it's pretty much together. It was tough getting the DVD to slide into place, but we finally got it where we wanted it to be. I also ran into a problem with one of the threaded bushings pulling out of the card reader. I had to reinstall it. There we go. Everything's finally in its place. One of the things that didn't work out as good as I liked was, as you can see, there's a bit of a gap between the card reader and the DVD player. And I've played with it a little bit since I shot the video to try and get it to level out and close up the gaps, but I haven't had much luck yet. There we're connecting the front three fans to the fan controller. We're getting the last of the power connectors connected for the card reader and the DVD or optical drive. To be honest, I'm not sure if that's Blu-ray or DVD writer. It's just the top one of the stack that I had that I jammed into it. So now that everything's installed and wired up, we're going to give it a quick test boot to make sure power is getting to where it needs to be and that everything's working as it should. So yeah, we're just plugging in the basics, a monitor, keyboard, mouse, the power cable. Just enough to see if we can get it to post and boot into Windows. Windows has been installed on it, so that part's ready to go. I'm really happy with the add-ons that I finally rebuilt and chose to install. There I am playing with the fan speed control. Works good. So now it's just basically cleaning things up a little bit. I had to swap the USB plugs around a little bit just to get the links and positioning correct. It was easy to run the cables through the front of the case. There's lots of space, so it's easy to tuck things away and clean up the way it looks. Being the retro or resto mod look, I wanted to actually keep the ketchup and mustard cables, and in this case there really isn't any back panel space to hide them all, so everything kind of stays visible. So the big trick here is just tidying it up and making it look cleaner than it currently does. By changing out the fan controller on the front I/O, I ended up moving the little two fans into the same motherboard port as the rear 120mm. So I had to use another fan splitter cable. Once again, I'm not really trying to hide the wires, I'm just trying to make it look neater than it did. And at the same time, make sure none of the cables are hitting any of the fans. As you can see, I'm using a pair of pliers to tighten up the zip ties, and then snipping them, of course. The power supply rack worked really well to tuck a few of the extra cable lengths away, and to also tie up some of the cables, like the video card cables, the motherboard supplemental power cables. One little thing that I hadn't done and forgot to do when I was originally putting everything in was attach the screws for the top fan. It's just a little 80mm one, but no sense leaving it loose. We've got the screws installed in that now. Yeah, so now we're just bundling up the last of the excess cables. That's the cables for the power switch and reset switch, so we'll tuck those away and snug them up to the back of the case. Now this is the solution that I came up with for filling in those gaps on either side of the fans for the front of the case. It's simple wire loom, cut to length, and then tucked into the space. It's fairly firm and it should stay secure, and it just gives it a cleaner look. Well, everybody, that concludes the build part for the Cooler Master Stacker case. I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. There's a couple of things though in the future that I'd like to address on it. One of the problems I ran into was I could not get a fan that I liked that would fit into the side panel. The thing I'd like to do in the future is put a tempered glass panel in place of the mesh, and let that Intel card really shine. It's got a little bit of RGB on it, and I kind of like it. Things that I really liked about it that worked out were what I used to fill in the gap. If you watched the video, you would have seen that all I did was use simple wire loom, cut it to length, and place it inside the edge of the case where there was an opening. And I thought it worked really well. We've got one more video on this case that we're going to be doing, and that's going to be the benchmarking and going over the system and all of its components one more time, and letting you see what exactly is in the box and how it's performing. The use for this PC hasn't been decided yet, but hopefully in the near future it'll find its place in the house and be another useful computer for the family to use. If not, well, it'll find itself on a buy and sell site, and somebody will get the joy of having it in their home. Well, thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe, give us a like if you liked it, give us a dislike if you didn't like it, and please, I encourage everybody to leave a comment. It will help me grow as a content creator. Thank you very much for watching Hard Mod Systems. I'm George, and we'll catch you in the next video.